Do you know that feeling when your heart's pounding, your jaw's tight, and your mind is just racing about potential comebacks or maybe even escape plans? It's the moment when you're in a tense conversation and you realize that you've been hooked in by the conflict. Well, it's something that I see every day in my work as a professional mediator. But the good news is that there are some options that you can use to stay calm during conflict. And so in this video, I'm going to be talking about 5 practical options to consider. If you don't know me, my name is Simon Good, and I'm the host of the Conflict Skills podcast, where we explore real strategies for handling tough conversations and building stronger relationships. And we often talk about de escalation, like how do we calm down other people. But before that, we always need to think about self regulation. How can we keep a level head ourselves? Not just necessarily because it feels better, but because it ultimately works better. If we can stay grounded, we make better choices that will help us then to listen more effectively and increase the chances of actually resolving the conflict. So, how do we do it? Well, here are 5 simple but powerful strategies. First, breathe like it matters, because it does. When we're stressed, our breathing pattern becomes shallow and fast, which triggers our nervous system to prepare for this fight or flight kind of response. But by being slow and deepening your breath, especially the breath out, the exhale, we send a message to our body that things are safe. Even 1 or 2 intentional breaths can interrupt the escalation process. Next, you could consider mindfulness, which means basically just noticing your body. Check in. Are your shoulders tense? Is your jaw clenched? Are your fists a bit tight? Simply bringing awareness to that physical tension helps us to release it. And this isn't about necessarily pretending that everything's fine and everything's okay when it's not. It's about giving your body some support to stay present. The third option to use is taking a moment, the pause. Silence might not necessarily be your enemy here, and sometimes a short pause to gather yourself can really shift the whole direction of a conversation. You don't need to respond immediately, especially if you're feeling a bit flooded and overwhelmed. You can say something like, "Look, just give me a moment. I'll need to think about all of that." This small act can spiral the conflict often before it starts. Fourth, consider options for anchoring to the bigger picture. What are the overarching goals here? And we can ask ourselves questions like, what really matters? Is this about being right, or is this about being understood? Is this about proving the point and winning, or is this about protecting a valuable relationship? When we can reconnect to those deeper values, it helps us to stay calm, even when the conversation is feeling quite challenging. And finally, practice ahead of time. This one might sound obvious, but it's often overlooked. And if you know that you're heading into a difficult conversation, do some prep. Take a few deep breaths. Imagine yourself staying grounded. Rehearse the actual phrasing that you'd like to use. This mental rehearsal, this mental practice can make a real difference when the emotions begin to run high. So, with those 5 practical strategies, the breathing, checking in with your body, the pausing before you respond, connecting to the bigger picture, and practice and preparation, it can really help for conflict to be resolved more effectively. And it's going to be a part of life. We're not going to be able to avoid conflict. We're really just looking for options that we can use for managing it with skill. And staying calm isn't necessarily about suppressing your feelings or being passive. It's about being connected to yourself and to the conversation. Well, thank you very much for watching, and especially if you're already a listener to the Conflict Skills podcast, I really appreciate you checking out this other channel. If you found it helpful, please consider sharing it with someone who might need it. And if you're up for it, leave a like and maybe even a comment below, because I'd love to know, what do you find helpful for staying calm when you're in the middle of a difficult conversation, especially when you're maybe interacting with someone who's trying to get a reaction out of you, trying to push your buttons, so to speak. What do you find works?